this video play out a little bit so you can watch this guy kind of destroy this guitar here really well. And this guy is our special guest today. And let me bring that back a little bit as he's noodling around here. This is Gerry Finn, if you're not familiar. So let's welcome Gerry Finn, guys, when we are live in Sunday Night Live.
Jerry, how are you?
Gerry.
What's going on, fellas?
Jerry. Why did I say Jerry?
Guys,
I'm doing crap.
Welcome.
we did it.
Good to see you.
Great
I missed
to
you
be
guys.
seen.
Yeah.
Good to have you on, man.
So
Yeah.
Gerry is the lead guitar player in Killer Dwarfs. You are also,
Yes.
you're the band leader in Burton Cummings, or guitar player?
I play guitar with Burton Cummings.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if band leader. To us, you're the band leader because you play guitar. So
Yeah.
you know the other guys, they
all of
want to
you,
be
man.
musicians.
Yeah.
So we know how
No
this
keyboard.
goes.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
differentiate.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
leader.
Burton is probably the leader of the band. You know. I don't know.
Well, all right.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
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 I think
he
I've
play
even
guitar?
heard of that guy. Is that the guy he sings? He does the national anthem for the Calgary Flames things, right?
Yeah. He probably has. Yeah.
Yeah, he did for a long time.
Oh,
Believe it, you should know that. I'm a huge hockey fan here, and I'm not from Canada.
Right.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
Gerry, first of all, I want to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Thank you, Len.
And I believe I want to give a shout out to the Dwarf Nation, to your fellow bandmates in the Killer Dwarfs, Russ, Moishi,
Moishi.
and Daryl. And didn't they all
Daryl.
have birthdays too?
They have them every year, Len.
No. I mean, like
Wait,
recently.
That's
Is
original. I
that a
like
thing
that.
in Canada where you guys have birthdays every year?
Wow.
We gotta figure that shit out. We're moving.
Yeah,
I know. It
that's
just keeps
funny.
happening.
My
We
wife hasn't
resist.
had one since I don't know how long. You know, she's still 39.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Len. Yeah. Listen, the guys, when we played your club 18 months ago, 2 years ago, we had the best time, and your hospitality was amazing. And it's so nice to see your face again and reconnect like this, even though it's a bit odd.
Yeah, you too.
You know.
Maybe if
Yeah.
we weren't going through what we're all going through, we would have had you guys back at least twice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that
we
was,
look forward to it.
that was a really good show. I'm going to actually put up a little flyer from
Yeah.
that show. It was at the Rail in Smithtown, New York.
Yeah.
See the big Killer Dwarfs, and oh, wait a minute. There's another band that I know of. Grim Jack was the opening act for
Yeah, come on.
Oh,
that. I got to get
guys.
I got to get a little bit when I can get it, you know.
Well, Joey was kind enough, thank you, when my amp exploded, that you helped me out. So, yeah, when you reached out to me, I'm like, I remember. Yeah, you saved the day. Yeah.
See, that's why I do that, just in case I need to pull a favor once in a while.
Yeah.
So we get Gerry on the show.
You never know how that's going to end up.
Yeah.
Here I am paying my dues.
There he is,
Right?
and he has
Yeah.
no idea what he's in for. Oh boy!
And I remember that night you were, for us, we were, kind of starting to elevate to having some nationals perform
Sure.
in the club.
Yeah.
And another shout out to Howie, who was actually promoted you guys to play there. I was nervous because I'm like, yeah, we're kind of on the small side, and I don't know how the band's going to react. And then you and Daryl were the first to walk in to case the club out, and I'm
Right.
going, all right, that must be the band because you guys just look like rock stars. Like, I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
I
Daryl
gotta go greet these guys, make sure everything's cool. You guys kind of walked in and you're looking around like, yeah, okay, and that was a good night because we had a lot of people there, and so it was just, But Daryl was like, my drums aren't going to fit on your stage, and
That's true. Yeah.
I was like, oh no, right? But he
Yeah.
wound up making it work, and you guys, one of the best shows I've seen. I've seen the band plenty of times in the past, but for playing there, that was one of the best nights we've had because it worked. Yeah.
Thank you, Len. I mean, to be in a band with Daryl Dwarf, right? I joined the band in 1990, and I would be somewhere in 1995, and people would know that I was in the band. They'd go, I know your drummer, right?
Yeah.
And he really is the sweetest guy, and he's this incredible, he's like a Disney character or something. I mean,
Yeah.
but he's so authentic, and you know, I introduce him to musician friends, and they go, "You get to be in a band with this guy," because he's just the best, right? And I can't believe I get to be in a band with him. So, yeah, love Daryl Dwarf. He's probably watching.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
he's the best.
So, obviously, you would have been on tour somewhere before this pandemic situation hit every one of us. I know you were going to do the M3 festivals and probably going to head over to Europe. What does that do to like a band that's like yours that's ready to tour, and then all of a sudden have it just completely fall apart at the last minute?
Well, you know, it's funny, right? So, yes, M3 we were really looking forward to. That's, I think, one of the best run festivals I've ever been a part of. You know, it's so slick, and they do a great job. And, you know, we're supposed to be going to Belgium in a few weeks, and there was a lot of things coming up. You know, we're in a sort of a holding pattern. We're working on new material. You know, we've got this deal with Dave Ellison's Megadeth, the bass player for Megadeth.
Yes.
His label, and we're going to do a new record. So we have things to do. I mean, I feel badly for young musicians who are, you know, 20 and just sort of getting started. And I mean, what we do, as you guys know, is so collaborative in nature.
Absolutely.
I wonder how this will affect their development. Now, maybe there'll be something really positive that we don't see, but it's gonna, you know, like, we're fine. The Dwarfs are fine. This will sort of settle down eventually, and we'll just kind of kick it up again. But I do wonder about how young musicians will fare through this. You know, what it'll mean to them.
Well, you know, part of the thing we talk about, you know, music is social, right? And
sure.
Playing in a band is very social. It's like, you know, brothers, you know, that you put together and work with, and continue. The people who you like and are very fond of. And, you know, we talked about a few people you play with before this, and, you know, they're the greatest people. Some of the, you know, people who I've played with, and Joey's played with, and Lenny's had in the bar. I mean, we've met people who are absolutely of the advice, don't be a dick, short of me. But you know what? I mean, that's
you should have listened. You know,
he does not.
I'm too far gone. But yeah, you know, I have somebody who lives locally here who's a guitar playing teacher, and what he teaches a lot of the younger folks here, and he's an amazing musician. But what he does is, what he did was, every couple of months there's a local music venue here. He would take Sunday afternoons and put all the kids up, and they would all play.
How great!
Different. It's incredible. I go all the time. In fact, we all go. You know, all the music people here where I live, and support this, and it's so great because, you know, what was it like the first couple of times you played? It's still magic, but I mean, then it's nerves. It's you know, do you have your chord? Do you have where your picks? You know, all the stuff that you know you. Well,
I still do that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting there going, what do I do with that pick?
Yeah.
You know, but you learn all these things, and, you know, I come and support them. I get tons of, you know, when I order things, extra cables come, right? And there's extra power cords. I give them to this gentleman and say, here, keep these to the side, because they will forever lose this shit, as we do.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So here, take these, and it's so great. And again, like you said, to be young and not be able to do the collaboration and the starting of this is it's huge.
I wonder how it'll play out. And like I said, I'm sure there are things that we can't see coming that are also really great. But, you know, I do, like, when I think of myself at 22 or 20, I mean, I was all about being in a room with people and collaborating. So it's a mystery to me how this will play out, and we'll see. Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up something real quick. We're doing a new stream service. So we were, if anybody's watched the show before, we'd always had some difficult dual streaming because we were going to Facebook and to YouTube. And, so we're using a new service. So we send one stream now, and then that service sends out multiple streams. It's so much easier for us. We're trying to do it for some more. in my ultimate wisdom, I had set us up originally with a link for this live show up on YouTube, and the new streaming service sets up its own link. So I'm just up on Facebook now posting that it's at a new link. So I'm sending out the link. So Steve was having a hard time joining. So Steve Lynch is trying to join. I also let him know that we sent him a link to join us here as well.
I owe him money. Keep him away.
Oh no, we're not going to. Steve, never mind, Steve. Go away. Go to the old link.
Everybody, when he comes on, everybody freeze.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he'll think, oh shit, it's not working again.
It'll be that same damn problem they had when I was playing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. We figured out that was the thing too. Is Steve came on and to show people a lot of stuff, and that guy is a ridiculous player. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not a guitar player compared to him. I should just like be a golf caddy or something compared to him. Fucking. I hate that guy, man. He's so good.
Did Steve play when he was on your show?
Yeah.
Guitar in hand.
Yeah.
And he was using the head rush board. Right, that's the one he was using, I think. Right.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, but when it started to go down to the lower register, the compression that was in Zoom was terrible.
Right.
We figured out later that I needed to send him a way to take the compression off. And like since then, we've had people play, and it's so much better. But poor Steve got the band into the stick.
It doesn't matter what Steve plays through. He's playing is so
it's like
incredible, and like Joey and I spoke earlier today about Steve, and Steve was a part of a wave of. We look at Eddie Van Halen, right, as the sort of the leading proponent of that style of playing, but there's something there. I think there was something in the air, and it was just something that was happening, and Steve was a part of that first wave of players that were doing something that had never been done before, and that's remarkable to me. Like very few of us get to be a part of that kind of a revolution, and Steve was really one of the first guys that was a part of how
one of the pioneers,
one of the guys who changed the way we play guitar. And I joke with Steve that when I was 17, I almost popped a rib trying to play that solo and turn up the radio.
Yeah, and how often does like a song that's a hit get that much recognition with the solo? That was an incredible solo.
I mean, I don't know how often
that year is crazy.
I don't know how often you've seen him play live, but every time I see Steve live, I learn something, and it's really
and he
incredible.
Just makes it look so freaking easy.
He does.
Yeah,
and he looks good too.
Oh, yeah, I know. Another one with those blue eyes. Holy shit! Another one. So dreamy.
Can he hear us?
He should. He hasn't come in.
He kept his shirt on too, which was good for us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh man. So how long? I love Burton Cummings. And I know you play with him. How long have you been doing that? How did that happen?
Well, so I play in a band called the Carpet Frogs, which is Burton's backing band.
Okay.
And they have been for 20 years. So I joined the band about 8 or 9 years ago. And I inherited a unique situation where there's 2 guitar players. One of the guys didn't want to do the Burton shows anymore because the Carpet Frogs play as a band doing corporate events and that sort of thing without Burton. So they brought in an outside guitar player to be the second guitar player. So when I joined the band, he still does the Burton gig. So I only play with Burton when one of the 2 guys can't do it.
Okay.
So I've never wished ill health on guys who I really like so frequently in my life. I never knew it was possible.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. He's the first time I did a rehearsal with him, I'd met him a number of times, and then we rehearsed. And he came in with a Dead Mouse T-shirt on. I mean and he was talking. Now I might be mixing up stories, but he was so excited. He had just completed his collection of some obscure label that Fats Domino was on here. So he's such a fan, such a consumer of music, that I think that has to be a part of a component in his success.
Right.
And we sat down and we played. Never forget. We played Albert Flasher was the first song, which, if you know the Guess Who was. And when he realized I could play, I'm 4 feet away from him in a small rehearsal room. and sort of sunglasses, and perhaps there was something smoked that I didn't take part in. And then we took a break, and one of the gig we were rehearsing for, the Wallflowers were one of the opening bands.
Wow.
And he said, "Hey, I'd like to meet Jakob Dylan because I know his dad." And I'm like, "Really? I'd love to hear this story." So he said, "Yeah, like in the '70s, Paul McCartney had this tour called Wings Across America." Yeah. As if I didn't know, right? I'm like, yeah.
I think I've heard of that.
And I guess the end of the tour, Paul McCartney rented this villa out in West Hollywood, and they had a big party, and that was when Burton and Bob Dylan became friendly. He was in Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, and he's friends with Joe. Like the world that he lives in is really so elite. It's bizarre, Yeah. But what a great musician. Like, he can play and sing. When you're up close to somebody that good, it's like, yeah, of course, that's why he sold all those records, because he's better than everybody else. Like, he really is a force,
Yeah. I agree. You see that when you can see greatness and you can feel it, when you're really near someone who's got that much talent. And it's amazing. He's probably wonderfully humble too, as far as that goes. But
he's sweet, man. I mean, he's lived a life that is like he became a star as a teenager, right? So he's probably never lined up at a bank in his life. So it's a different, so a set of problems for him might be different than they would be for us. So if the towels aren't right, it might be upsetting to him, but I can kind of get it,
Yeah.
Right. It's
right. It's a different reality. I was talking to a friend of mine at dinner, when we used to be able to have dinner together, and
right.
She had been at an awards thing sitting next to Joan Jett. And,
okay.
And my friend Nini, she's very down to earth and great singer songwriter, but she's like, she doesn't even live on the same plane that we do.
Joan, you mean? Yeah,
because because Joan's been a star since she was 15 or 16 years old.
Runaways.
She has never been to the bank, right? I mean, she is, never waited
what I
in
mean?
line. There was nothing. There's nothing, and she says she's great. She's great to hang out with, but there's not. It is a different world. She lives in a completely different world than the rest of us, and I'm sure Burton does too.
So I have now. This sounds like a funny. I guess we're here to drop names. So I got a call last minute.
Absolutely, that's your
to
job.
go play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Burton, because one of Michael, my dear friend, who's the greatest guitar player who plays with Burton, had something happen. He couldn't do the gig, so I hop in the car, drive overnight to Cleveland, and it was when Glenn Frey died from the Eagles, and so we do this gig, and then the rest of the band, of course, they were on a bus and they all left, so just myself and Bert in the hotel room. And we get talking about and he's just like, he's so generous about. And I said, did you know Glenn Frey? He goes, no, but I know Joe Walsh really well. And I think I mentioned earlier, they played together in Ringo Starr's All-Star Band.
Yeah.
And he said, I have to tell you a funny story about Joe Walsh. And he said they were every town they went to, Joe was off to a meeting, right? And Burton was like, I need to be way more proactive about my business. Like, I got nothing going on, right? And like, it was 2 months later, he realized these were AA meetings. Anyway,
I got a lot going on. In fact, guys, I'm actually late for a meeting right now.
Yeah. God, that guy's got a meeting everywhere he goes.
That's good.
That's great.
I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, he's a great musician, and it's a thrill, and to go down, da 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 da, and see him, it's surreal, man.
How could that not make you just crazy? Just playing that opening riff and being next to him. It's not, you're not in a garage with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, And we got to do a gig in St. John's, Newfoundland, my hometown.
Oh, nice.
My parents came out and met him, and he was really patient and cool with them, and he's a joy to be with, Yeah.
Awesome.
Wonderful, man.
So the let's go back to the Killer Dwarfs. What are
Sure.
you guys up to right now?
So we're, like I said earlier, we're sort of, you know,
Kind of recording, right?
well,
Or-
Russ and I are writing songs. The band's writing
Okay.
songs, and you know, we're going to make a record, but everything's kind of on hold. You know,
Yeah.
so it's fine. When things pick up, we'll be, you know, we're dying to get at it. You know, it's fun. You know, the things that I miss are like buying $15 Heinekens in airports and like
Yeah.
and checking into hotels. I don't know why it's always a Heineken in an airport. Do you guys find that?
Yeah.
I don't know of all the beers. You know, I
And,
really
and
miss-
really crappy fried food. But yeah.
Oh, totally right. And I do miss all of that stuff, right? Just sort of being tired and checking into a hotel and then showing up and seeing Len
Yeah.
at
There you
a
go.
venue. And yeah, I'm looking forward to however that might work when we get back to something like that. You know,
Right.
So are you guys like you and Russ? Are you bouncing around like musical ideas and just
all
getting
the time.
some-
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's great. He's endlessly creative. It just keeps.
He doesn't stop because he's got his solo thing, and he's got that other band. Was it
Yeah.
Penny Black?
Yeah, well, I don't know how active that is, but he's got his solo thing too, and I think he's doing a solo record on Dave's label too. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, Russ is
No.
a force of nature. You know, Russ to me is like one of those guys, like an Angus Young or something. He's such a unique character
Exactly.
in rock and roll. Like,
Ball of energy that just doesn't stop.
dude, the first time I played with the Killer Dwarfs, the first show, I'd never seen the band, and we rehearsed and we start the show, and he's gone right off the stage. And I'm thinking, where'd the singer go? You know, and he spent, you know, then he would do things like run out to the front of the house and shut the mains off so the PA would go off as a joke, right? you know, and we just watched the sound man try to figure it out. I mean, we're talking thousands of people, right? You
Oh
know,
my God.
so yeah, Russ is great. He's the best.
That's
It
awesome.
keeps going. Now,
Mm.
I just recently found out that you also played with the band Helix.
I did, yeah.
Wow, I love that band.
Yeah, Helix are great in Canada. They're like they're not on the stamp, but they're close to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were right on the cusp there. You know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember going, you know, man, those guys are cool. They looked really cool. They moved really cool. And I forgot the name of the song. It was a big hit for them that they showed the video for all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, there's Heavy Metal Love or Rock You. There's a lot of big hits. They had a lot of hits.
Deep
I
Cuts the
did-
Knife, maybe?
Deep Cuts the Knife is one of them. Yeah.
That's the
Mm.
song. Yeah.
Yeah. I never recorded with Helix, but I did a few tours with them. And there's a bit of trivia. So Rock You, which is a big Helix song,
Yeah.
Russ and Daryl actually sing backup vocals on that track. Give me
Oh,
an
wow.
R. Oh, yeah. They just happen to be in the studio. So they're on that song. Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
Helix are a great band, and Brian Baumer, the singer, has turned that into this incredible cottage industry where he's taking control of the records, and they don't need to be huge for it to be, worth money. And
Yeah.
I really admire him. You know, he's one of those guys. When I was on the road with him, like he would take off his stage clothes, then put on his, go to bed leather pants, like he's,
Mhm.
he's not pretending to be that rock and roll, like a Lemmy Kilmister. Like he's one of those. He's so that guy. You know, it's very, very exciting to be around.
Wow.
Helix.
Yeah.
So
And now
we-
you also did some touring work, or maybe even some recording with the singer for I'm Mother Earth.
Yeah, Brian Byrne and I. Yeah,
Yeah.
Another fine Newfoundlander, by the way.
Great
Oh,
vocals.
is he great?
Oh, you
band.
guys would love some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah, Brian Burnsy's a great talent, and I Mother Earth are a big band in Canada and have been since they were sort of part of when Alice in Chains and bands like that showed up. It was the early '90s. They became a big band.
Yeah, I saw them
And,
open for Van Halen.
Yeah, they're a great band, and
Great record.
they had this kind of Latin percussion component, kind of like Santana, but like kind of grungy. They're really cool. Yeah, they were really amazing.
Did you do any recording with them or just touring?
With Brian, we made a few
Yeah.
records. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of alt country stuff.
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed listening from what I listened to. I thought that was really cool.
Thank you, Len. Yeah.
Great singer, yeah. Great songs. Nice and, vibey and stuff.
I have to bring you back to the Carpet Frogs for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jones, who's the bass player in the Carpet Frogs, he was the first bass player in Rush. And but the band that he was in...
Wait. You can't say that quick. And wait. What?
Yeah, so Jeff was the first bass player in Rush. Before Geddy was in the band.
Before Geddy Lee.
Yeah, so it was Al and John Rutsey and
Yeah,
Jeff.
John Rutsey.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so they're teenagers, right? But Jeff sort of had his first big hit in the late 60s with a band called Ocean, which was Put Your Hand in the Hand of the Man. You probably know the song.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
So he was like maybe 17 at that time. And Jeff then went on to play in... So he's still the bass player with Burton and the Carpet Frogs. Jeff went on to be in a band called Red Rider, who you might know, Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah.
Tom Cochran is a singer.
Yeah,
Life is a Highway.
Yeah.
So that's Jeff. So about 3 years ago, Jeff gets a call from Alex Lifeson. And Alex Lifeson and Tom Cochran, they both play golf at the super elite golf. And they were doing a fundraiser. And so Al said, can we hire the Frogs to be the band? We're going to do a set of Rush songs and then a set of songs with Tom Cochran. So,
wow.
So I got Russ Dwarf involved, and with Russ singing, we did Limelight, Spirit of Radio, Tom Sawyer, with Alex Lifeson on stage with us. It was the most incredible thing, right? And we did a full day of rehearsals, then we did the show the next day. And he's one of, like Eddie Van Halen, he was my hero. Like when I was in grade 9, I was just pretending I was playing Xanadu on stage instead of being in geography.
God, it must have been surreal walking into the rehearsal, just like that
Right,
first
torn
day.
the snow dog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he was so cool, and I said, Alex, you're one of my heroes. I just want you to know. And he was like, yeah, like he hears all the time, right? It wasn't even that big a deal. Like 10 people tell him this. But he was so cool. But the best part, there's a lot of good parts about this, but the next day, which was the day of the show, I show up and he's on stage and he goes, "Hey, Jeer," which alone made me want to cry. He called me Jeer. And he goes, "Can you show me those Cochran songs?" Because he wanted to sit in for the
No.
And I went, yeah, of course I will, right? So I had some notes. And then I'm thinking 14-year-old me is going, I'm giving Alex Lifeson a guitar lesson.
Yeah, right? Oh my God.
It was such a thrill. And then the Trailer Park Boys were there and we did like Closer to the Heart. I mean, it was ridiculous. And Russ is singing Spirit of Radio and he's singing it perfectly. He sort of sounds like Geddy anyway, and
he can get that register.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's my Al story.
Yeah. So I wanted to let you know that Steve did pipe in. He did find the link on Facebook. So Steve's watching us on Facebook.
Hey, Steve.
There was a lot of people piping up on Facebook. There is.
Yes, I'm watching the Facebook stream and it's perfect.
Yeah, and there's
comments?
it's good. A lot of comments. I'll do some shout outs, and most people are just saying, hey, hey Gerry, and shouting out to Killer Dwarfs. You got Edward Lashua.
Oh, Ed, yeah.
Yeah, you know him. Okay, good. You got Diane Robinson.
Ed owes me money.
Okay, Ed. So you can PayPal it directly to Musing Rants and Guitars.
Yeah,
We'll get it to Gerry
Venmo. We'll take care of you.
Rich, we're getting a lot of hearts all of a sudden. Look at that.
All right, well, for Gerry.
Yeah. Ed sent quite a few things. There's a lot of just like big thumbs up things going here. So we are getting a lot of responses here. That's nice. Great.
So usually where I kick in here is that I really like to know, you grew up, in rural Canada, not rural, but
it was a small town. Yeah,
a small town. So what started you playing, and how did that come about?
Well, didn't you
You
originally
know.
start with the ukulele?
Well, so that's funny. There's an article. I did an interview where I said, yeah, I was just compelled to get my hands on a guitar, and I eventually, my sister had like a student type guitar that my older sister never played. And I got my hands on that. And I don't know why, I was just compelled to do it. I was just drawn to it, and then of course, I had discovered Kiss, and Ace Frehley to me was, he was like Spider-Man to me. I was a Kiss fan before I played music. So I was not.
Oh, yeah.
I think I started to play when I was about 11, but Ace was like a superhero, right?
I always say no Ace, no me. Much as I, everything else. But if that didn't happen and he didn't appear, I probably would not.
I'm the same. I'm the same, Tommy. Yeah, like I have a Cherry Sunburst Les Paul exactly because of him.
That was his guitar. Back
yeah, you know what? I have because I like black guitars, but I absolutely set up a black guitar the way he had in one of his pictures. with the cream DiMarzios and that. So that sort of view of him. But
Totally.
People love the Sunburst that he did too. Yeah, that's
I have the Peter Frampton custom with the 3 pickups. But to me, it's the Ace guitar with the 3 pickups.
Yeah, Frampton was really a great songwriter, but he wasn't Ace.
Ace was just so cool, right? So I guess when I was a kid, that was the stuff I was, like a lot of us, I was drawn to that. And then I remember hearing Van Halen and being 13 or something and thinking, oh yeah, right? There's something to this.
That was like the progression. We all went through the same thing.
Yeah, it just got cooler.
Kiss had started the ball rolling, and then it kind of just turned into like a Van Halen thing, and then from there it just went to wherever you wanted to go with it. But that was the blueprint.
Len, you have firsthand Van Halen stories, right?
Yes, I do.
That's amazing. I've never met Eddie Van Halen. I've come close, but not. And
the whole time just being around, them on the inside, I was treated like royalty.
Yeah.
If you were a guest to somebody in the crew, they were like they took care of you like you were part of the family. It was just witnessing so many things behind the scenes that the average fan doesn't get a chance to see.
Dude.
And here it is. I'm like I'm a teenager. I'm cutting high school and I'm on tour with Van Halen.
Come on.
And I'm just like holy shit. I just wish I had like a camera to take. But they were like,
it's probably a good
really
thing.
Dig that too much, but it was just the experiences of so many different things is just priceless. But
when I joined the Dwarfs, Andy Johns produced the first record I did with the Dwarfs. And
major.
He just spent a year and a half or something at Eddie Van Halen's house making For All Lawful Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
So Andy had made 200 of the 300 most important records in the world by this point. It was kind of my first record, and it was pretty intimidating. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Arthur. Do you remember Dudley Moore, that movie, Arthur?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what Andy was like that, but he was like 6'4". So if you can picture like this English guy, and he was just so great and a brilliant man, and of course the best of what he did. But I remember one time sitting in the studio, and he said, "Yeah, Eddie did this thing. It was like a hiccuping thing," and I knew exactly what he was talking about. And I went, where you hammer on like an octave, like right? I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know what you mean," like this. And he went, in his English accents, he goes, "No, it wasn't quite like that." So, we all think we can do it, but yeah. There's
not like that.
Yeah.
Not like that.
No.
Quite like that. Yeah.
Definitely not.
Well, the one thing I noticed whenever I happened to be around Eddie, always had a guitar in his hand. Always playing. I mean, if you didn't see him with a guitar like backstage or after or before a show, it was weird.
I love hearing that.
And he always, and it was the same stage guitar. It wasn't like a backstage, and it was just, and he was always just riffing out and just, I would hear things that he was doing like a tour before it made it on that album the following year. I remember
incredible
because I'm taking all this in.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, that was the lick from Girl Gone Bad that you did last on 82 that is now on the '84 album. Like,
Wow.
it's just so many different little things. But he really cool dude, really nice. I was like a fat, sweaty kid because I was so nervous, and they were just looking like, "Oh, he's cool. He's just nervous."
It's so
And
great.
they treated me like they kind of thought it was kind of cool, I guess, because wherever they went, I happened to be like not far away.
How cool to be privy to that, Len. What a privilege.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, definitely. But one hell of a nice guy, and just a guy that, from my eyes, was totally dedicated to his craft. Didn't really care about the showbiz end of things. He just wanted to create music. Like to me, he's like one of the most cutting edge musicians I've ever met.
I bet.
Because he was always pushing to find something new. So it was cool.
Yeah.
Just wild.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen some of these old videos they're putting together with different audio, and there's like some grainy video of them like in 1979, and it's like, what? Like that a band could be that good.
Yeah, like coming out of the gates,
Yeah,
like, are you kidding? Like, what the hell was that? Now, a lot of people fail to realize that they're really like a band out of the 70s.
Yeah.
Their first two records were the 70s, so they weren't really part of the 80s movement, but they exploded in the 80s, and they became part of the whole 80s thing, but they were really like at the tail end of the 70s, like 78, the first album came out, in 79, the second album came out, and they were already on the verge of being like superstardom when they were opening up for these established bands that they were just blowing away.
Yeah, I mean, so Joey or Tommy, like, do you remember the first time you heard Eruption?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's your memory of it, Tommy? What?
I just, you know what? It was probably pretty much inconceivable that this was actually a sound, right? That someone was doing. The closest thing I thought probably was maybe some of the Thin Lizzy stuff, where they were, with some guitars, with some phase shifting stuff that they were doing. But it was nowhere near what that was. And it absolutely floored and astounded me. And the other thing, being that I was young, I didn't realize they tuned down half a step. And it was, right? So you're like, what is going on? Why can't I'm going? He's playing it here, like half a step down. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you? I want open strings. Why would he do that? So someone said, "Oh no, it's tuned down half a step."
I was very fortunate when I heard that. I was a bass player.
Right.
I was like, oh, thank fuck, I don't have to fucking play that. Holy shit.
Yeah, you're going, down.
Yeah, he's got
down.
Yeah. I'm like, I can fucking rock that low E like that. I was so happy.
Yeah.
And then
I love
later,
U2 records.
Yeah, and then later I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta play some shit like that. Wow.
Yeah, I remember thinking, not even identifying it as a guitar at first. Yeah. Like thinking, like, what is that? Yeah. Is that like a sequencer or something? Yeah. Like it sounded like with like the Who, I didn't even know what, Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a child, but I mean, I can't imagine being one of his contemporaries. They must have been like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Right? So don't do this to us.
Right. Yeah, I said, with Thin Lizzy is there, right? Out there doing, their dual guitar thing.
Oh,
and these
so
are developed. These are developed players, and all of a sudden, this guy comes out and does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like he came back from the future. Like you can sort of see the progression of where Jimi Hendrix came from, or like where Jimmy Page came from. Yeah. There's almost like there's like 4 steps missing between everybody else and what Eddie showed up.
I am
in my opinion,
on board with you, right? There's Jimmy Page. You heard there was the Yardbirds. There was the things in between. There was the first Zeppelin record. Then there was the second. You saw absolute development.
Yeah, but even the blues guys he was influenced by, you can sort of see it, right? You can kind of get it,
Right.
Yeah.
Eruption,
nothing with Eddie.
But then you got Eddie and then Steve Lynch at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah.
In the same spot, you got Randy Rhoads. They were
and
all
Dave
doing the
Meniketti.
Yeah. Well, Dave is a blues
Yeah.
guy, you know. I mean, Dave.
He is, but
he's-
still,
he's crazy.
He's of the same.
Oh, he's gotten fucked many times here.
Yeah.
He's my hero.
Yeah,
I
like
love
when
that guy.
Van Halen when that dropped, it was primarily everybody was like a blues based rock
Sure.
guitarist. I mean, you
Yeah, it
had
was Ted Nugent, you know. Yeah.
Ted
Yeah,
Nugent,
yeah,
Joe
absolutely.
Perry, Ace Frehley. You had
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, like a bolt out of the blue, it was like this fucking Van Halen guy comes out,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the fuck was that? Like, I remember when I first heard Eruption, I didn't like it. I know, and I'll
Right.
tell you why I didn't like it, because I didn't understand it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so used
Yeah.
to like Rishi Blackmore, who was probably primed to be the next guitar god with 78 Long Live Rock and Roll.
right.
And I was more, coming out of the Kiss school. Most of my guys that I could digest were blues influenced.
Sure. Yeah.
And then he comes out, and I remember I was at a record store in Northport, an actual record store, which I missed, by the way.
Yeah.
And I had a Rainbow album in my hand, and the guy goes, "Oh, if you like Rainbow, you'll like this. This is the next Led Zeppelin." And he kind of pressured me into buying the record. So, all right, that album cover looked cool. They kind of
That's
looked
how
like
you got
Kiss,
stuck in the
leather and
grubs all the
everything.
time.
The first
And I
the
go-
first Van Halen record?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
go and I put the record on it, and Running with the Devil was kind of Kiss like, with the strong beat, and
Strong
then when
bass.
Eruption came, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then it reminded me, I thought of the song Frankenstein by Edgar Winter.
Sure.
I just thought that's what he ripped, and I was like, oh, he ripped off Frankenstein. What the fuck's with this guy? And then, like about a week later, I was just like, you know what, that was kind of cool. It just stayed with me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it just
Yeah.
turned into like, wow, I don't know what this is, but I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guitar player turned me onto that album. He started spinning it, and he's playing that, and then I was just like, oh, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
like, what is that? I mean, that's just another level. And I went and bought the album like that, like within
Yeah.
a day or so, because it was just crazy. By the way,
Yeah, well,
turned on by Jeff Rossback is my buddy.
Our friend Steve Lynch, right? Who I
Yeah.
think if Steve is watching, I know Steve was
Yeah,
a
he's
part
still
of
on.
that.
Yeah.
Steve was a part of that wave, like we talked about this earlier, but a part of nobody had ever played guitar like that before.
No.
And it was Eddie and Steve and this small group of people who found a whole new way to do it,
yeah.
I mean, how incredible is that?
And musically, it's not just technique. They were just so melodic and musical, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
Eruption's an explosion, right? I mean, it really is, and it just to slap in the face to everybody who had done something before. But I mean, they were always the songs too.
Always, yeah.
It
Yeah,
definitely was an evolution in guitar playing and techniques, because now, from what those guys pioneered, it has gone so widespread to so many different genres of music, that ability, but you could take it almost anywhere and create almost anything. It's endless, and I just think it's fucking cool.
And he looked great doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were talking about the coming up with a lot of those guys were from California. You got Eddie, you got Randy was out there. Next week we have a couple special guests that are from that time. It's Ron Sobel and Kid McNair, friends with the Quiet Riot guys back in the very early years. Ron wrote a book. It's well known. Kim was a very close friend of Randy's. So we're going to have them on for a chat next week. So that's my little commercial for us.
How great.
Let's get back to Joe.
Nice.
With the
Tune
Dwarfs,
in next week, kids.
we did a couple of shows with Juan, from Rat.
Yeah.
And what
Another great player.
Great player, but just the nicest man. But he will go out as a solo guy, and he sings all those songs. His voice is great, right? His cool band. And but we did a handful of shows in Texas, and we ended up staying up late in the hotel room and talking about that scene that he came from. And he was in some version of Quiet Riot with Randy Rhoads. They would rehearse at Randy's mom's house. And it's incredible to me that those guys, Joey and I spoke about this earlier, like they were just a small group of people, just guys in living rooms with guitars. And now it's sort of the stuff of legends. But I mean, they're just dudes with guitars playing at their mom's house. It's amazing to me. Juan was around for all of that, right? You should get Juan on. He's got stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Well, the funny story, like Warren DeMartini was, it was him, Jake, and oh my God, now I can't remember, George Lynch. So like the three of them would, were into, showing each other things.
Yeah.
It was like their little clique, their little
Yeah.
community, wherever they grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were on the edge. They were onto something, those guys.
They
Absolutely.
were, and just incredible.
They must have got up early.
They did. They probably drank a lot of coffee. Lots of coffee. So the evolution from hearing the first time with Edward, then Yngwie, the next thing that takes you to the thing that brought it to the next level of insanity, which everybody took
I remember hearing that first record and thinking, well, I need to learn how to write songs. Because I can never be a guitar player.
I was thinking about how do you actually be a lumberjack and break these things up into tiny pieces.
I was trying to figure out how to rake up leaves and make more money because I was not going to make money as a guitar player after that.
Because it was understanding a bit of classical music. I just had no comprehension someone was going to take that and bring it to the guitar. So
he could play so quickly. It was ridiculous. It's not really my cup of tea, but it's remarkable what he does. In my opinion.
It's just so precise. It's just kind of like, whoa, And my thing is that what is that, like the whole, I call the West Coast thing up with Van Halen and Steve pioneered. What's that whole like neoclassical side? What is that going to evolve into in like 10 years from now? It's going to be crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
The version of that toned down, of course, is Paul Gilbert, right? So I mean, where it's more musical and song oriented with incredible playing. So.
Right, but don't you think neoclassical came from Randy? Right, because he
probably
was very classical.
Again,
very classical.
It comes from Richie Blackmore.
It comes from
Blackmore,
Willie John Roth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they were hip to Al Di Meola. They were hearing things. These guys,
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's true. I mean, the first time I saw Al Di Meola was as much of a revelation as was Eruption. So.
Yeah, I mean the thing about that neoclassical thing, it was hard to do and it was really impressive. But there was there was no pool parties when you play neoclassical. But, you know what I mean? Van Halen. Or Autograph. I mean, that was just socially meant something different.
Absolutely.
If you're playing that neoclassical stuff, you're playing to 2,000 guys in black T-shirts, which is also fine.
Yeah.
Right.
But it just was something I was drawn
to.
to.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a Rush concert because the women's bathroom is empty and the line to get into the men's room is out the door. Same thing.
Yeah.
I'm all about the party.
Yeah, that's way more fun.
And that's what the Dwarfs kind of remind me about. You guys aren't really like a metal band. You guys are like a rock and roll band. You remind me of Kiss in that you inherit the spirit of let's just go out, have a good time, party up, and just get crazy with rock and roll. And that's like the spirit that I love about the Killer Dwarfs.
Oh, thank you,
because that's what you did for me. Go up there, pump my fist, and just be like, forget about life for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
When we got the band back together about 7 years ago, it had been years. The band had been defunct for a long time, and they did a thing with Mike, who I replaced originally in the band, and then that didn't last. And we met at a pub down the street from my house. It was like so I hadn't been in a room with Daryl and Russ for years, and it was really just like, do we even remember who we were, right? As soon as I saw them, like, of course I love these guys, and we hit it off, and we started to talk about plans to start something again with the band. So we're having a few drinks, and there's a guy at the bar, and I swear he's 100 years old, and he's got one tooth, and he's an old man, and he comes over and he says, looks like you guys are having a great time, you're up to something, can I take a picture for you? And we were like, you know what? That'd be really cool, actually, to have a photo to document us reconnecting for the first time, right? So he took Russ's phone and he shot off 10 pictures and gave the phone back. and the camera was reversed, right? So the pictures are his nostril and his tooth.
Oh my God.
And we're like, this is the perfect way to start the band back up. Like we have a record cover already, right?
That's amazing.
I like that. That was.
You got to see these pictures; they're amazing. But how often do you get to redo something from, when you were in your 20s?
Yeah,
and so we're so grateful that we get to do it, and we don't take it for granted for a second. And what's removed is that the pressure of, are we getting played on the radio in this town? Like all that stuff's gone. And so now our audience knows what we are. And it's just a joy.
Yeah, you don't have that record company type of pressure.
We don't have to prove anything anymore. We just have to go out and be ourselves.
Yeah, you just go. You just get out there for your fans, and they'll just do the rest.
And be the Killer Dwarfs, yeah. And the fans are the best, right? They're all still in the shirts that they bought in 1988 that don't fit so well anymore, and they don't care.
Hey.
There's yeah, but it's the least pretentious audience you can imagine, right? And they've all gone on to become successful grown-ups, and they're lawyers and doctors and policemen and everything. And they show up, just ready to have a great time, and we do too. So it's what a privilege for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like I know, I don't make any money at gigs, and I just do it for the fun.
I never said it made me money.
Yeah.
No, but it's really, that it's still the joy. We get to be 15 again. We really fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
And for us, without the pressure or anything, it feels great. It just joy. Just brings joy, man. That's why.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get a little boring for some of the people out there, because me and Tommy are big gear hogs. Tell us what you like. What's your gear, man? What do you like to use the most?
Oh, it's really simple. Like with the Dwarfs, I use an old 5150 is my main head.
Okay.
Like the first one.
Right.
And Les Pauls. And really, there's nothing. My pedal board looks like the same one I had when I was 14. It's a phaser and a tuner.
Right.
You know what? The interesting thing that I think is a significant upgrade that I can't believe we didn't think of sooner is the small wah pedal.
Yeah, the mini. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that lately too.
It's so brilliant. Like at some point, somebody arbitrarily decided that a wah pedal has to be the size of a giant man's foot. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It's just simply a hinge, right? And anyway, I think that's a breakthrough piece of equipment. Plus, it's not 40 pounds, so it doesn't tear all your pedals apart, when you're flying or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My gear is really simple. Just an in-tune Les Paul and the 5150.
Well, there's your problem right there, trying to find a Les Paul.
Find an in-tune Les Paul.
Well, can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have a graphite tree string.
Okay.
You have the tree string on, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I use the tree string upside down, where the cover for the I've got a hummingbird here. So this screw right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Put the tree string there, and these two strings you put through the tree string.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So they don't bind up.
And the Les Paul stays in tune.
Wow.
It's a $7 fix.
Wow. All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I ended up going with the access route. Yeah, no, that's great. The one thing I can say is, and I get a lot of boos on this one, is, for Grimjack, I play the access because Tommy has one also. So I'm covering a lot of Tommy's stuff on the Thick as Thieves album that we did, and he had to use the whammy. Fucking asshole, that guy. So I have to have an access, and that thing never goes out of tune,
Right.
So that's the one with the Floyd Rose on it.
And it's light.
I'm not a huge trim guy, So it ends up coming on stage for a couple of songs, and I gotta use.
Dude, I love because of Eddie. I used to have Kramer's, and I love them.
You still have that Kramer, the white one?
No, it was stolen.
Oh shit!
Sorry, the one that got away.
It's funny. I've only had 2 guitars stolen. They're both white Kramers, so I don't know what that means. But yeah,
Nick Mars.
Yeah,
Nick
one
Mars
in the
has
80s. Yeah, Jeff LeBar took them. Jeff's a friend of mine who I adore, by the way. Yeah.
So do we. But we know he has them. Jeff, bring them back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Do you want? Let's start doing some of the segments, and then the segments have been going kind of long. And I know that Gerry does have some studio work to do in too. So while we were talking about the thing getting stolen, let's talk about the one that got away. So we did Tommy last week. I'm going to talk about one of mine that got away.
Tell me.
And I went to a 5150, but before that it was a 72 JMP.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was just kind of like laying around the house, and I wasn't using it. And, those things are monstrously fucking loud. Of course, if you look back there, you see there's a 74 back there.
Sure.
Because, that is the one that got away that I had to rebuy back. So I had the 72, and my drummer wanted to do double bass, and he didn't have he didn't want to have the two bass drums out there, so he wanted the double kick. They had that double kick with the two beaters on it, and it was his birthday, so I went to the local store down in I was in Van Nuys or North Hills. It was in LA anyway, and I go down there and I'm like, hey, if I trade this in, how much money can I get back for a double bass pedal?
Oh.
And the guy's like, no, I'll trade you even. And I was like, I did it.
Oh, God.
I fucking did it.
You got screwed.
Oh, I got so screwed on that one.
That is the worst story I've ever heard in my life.
That's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Definitely.
But at
I have
least
one
I
for
thought,
next week.
I at least thought the rest of the guys in the band would, chip in, like everybody, it was an expensive double bass pedal. The guy was like, yeah, it's $400-500 or something. So I'm like, all right, everybody chip in, like $40-50. Nobody chipped in a fucking nickel. So I lost everything on that fucking head. So.
Well, how was the drummer? Was he fine with it?
Yeah. Then he was only my drummer for another 6 months.
Yeah.
He loved the gift. It was his birthday, so he was really happy with it. And then,
Nice.
6 months later, he quit. I'd worked with the guy for 5 years.
He joined Wasp to do,
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he even plays drums anymore anyway. So this is the one we only ask one of the panels, and we're going to ask the guests. So Gerry, what was the one that got away for you, either a trade or a sell or?
Well, so many. I regret every bit of gear that I parted with, really.
Yeah.
And very few of those choices were about finance. I don't know why. You end up selling a guitar. I used to have an Ampeg V4 amp that I used to run through a Tom Schultz power soak, and that was like, I might be over romanticizing that now, but that was this mid-rangey, incredible tone. I wish I still had that amp.
Yeah. Well, remember, get your yayas out. That was it.
That thing weighed like 700 pounds, didn't it?
It was 700
how many
pounds.
kilos?
It's on a spring chassis, and
yeah,
and the other, I don't want to. So it's just kind of a funny story. I had one of the original Gem Steve Vai guitars, in the 80s when they first came out, and a guy who I knew was a guitar player, he wanted to buy it from me, and his girlfriend at the time became my ex-wife. so
well, you still got the guitar, right?
I don't, so I sold the guitar and ended up married to somebody who I then divorced. So that's probably something I would like to undo. I do miss the guitar
so much.
Do you miss the wife?
So good things came out of that marriage.
Yeah.
but I miss the guitar.
Oh, that's the okay. That's the baby mama.
Anyway.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I like those Steve Vai guitars. They're really fun to play. It was pink.
Yeah.
I actually had that guitar when I joined the Dwarfs. They're like, you can't play a pink guitar. I was just, but I did, and it was cool. It stayed in tune. Also, it was well designed.
Yeah,
and
it
was
one of the white ones.
Right. Yeah, the
much
original
later
ones
but
were
original
yellow,
ones. Yeah.
green, and pink. I had the pink one, and they were not expensive guitars. They're worth a fortune now. I'm surprised to see what people are paying for them. I think
Yeah.
because of course there aren't that many of them around, and so it's
Right.
it's just a
Yeah.
bolt-on neck Japanese. It's nothing
Yeah.
special.
I mean, yeah,
It's not like a good Les Paul.
Right. Yeah, they're
Right.
made well, but they got a little fancier a little later. Like the white one I had, I had the the ebony board and shit, and then they stopped doing that all of a sudden. But yeah, that was one of the ones I traded away too. But,
He's a great player. I've seen him play up close, and I mean, he really is something else. Yeah.
He's like an alien.
I've seen him close too, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, he's got those giant hands.
Giant
They're
hands.
huge.
And,
Yeah.
and just the facility. I mean, that, being able to play like that and his fingers spread out. It's completely, again, a different animal. If you put your hand up and his hand up, you're like, wow, I'm 5.
Yeah, he's one of the local guys from our area, from Long Island. He used to teach,
right,
teach
sure he is. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he used to be in at
Him and
Focus 2 all the
Satriani.
time. Yeah, right. Satriani was from out here too. So
I'm a big Frank Zappa fan, so that's my initial connection to Steve Vai, and
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a pretty cool Frank Zappa story. I'll give.
Oh, tell us, please.
The guy who's coming on next week, Kim, has a lot of friends. He had friends over at our pool in L.A. and they have a little girl, and the little girl had a friend in the pool. I get a call on the phone. I'm inside practicing because I needed to practice. I hadn't been a guitar player that long. I was a bass player originally, so I'm inside practicing. And these people are all out in the pool. Somebody calls on the phone. He says, "Yeah, my daughter's there. Can I speak to her?" I said, "I don't know who's here." So I call out, and I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know who you're even talking about." He's like, "Yeah, my daughter's there. Her name's Diva. Just yell out. I know she's there in the pool." So I call out, and she's in the pool, and she's getting out. She's toweling off. So, and this is back in the day. Phones recorded, and I didn't have any place to hang it up. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, she's getting out," and I'm sitting there for a second. He says, like, "So what do you think of the weather?" And he's the Santa Ana winds, and he's talking about weather and I'm like, yeah, it's nice, I guess. It's a little breezy and shit. And I hand the phone off to the girl, and my roommate Kim turns around and he says, "Did you have a good conversation?" He's just smiling at me because he has this fucking incredible Irish smile, and he's like, "Yeah, have a good conversation." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's fucking Frank Zappa, idiot."
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I got to talk to Frank Zappa about the weather. Out of all the things in the world I would have talked to him about, right? I talked to him about the weather.
I bet that was interesting, even though with him,
Yeah, it would have been more interesting had I known it was Frank Zappa.
I'm sure.
I would have been like, "What?"
Yeah, instead of going, fucking talk about the weather.
Yeah, like, "Hey, dude, I don't want to talk about weather with you." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck off, dude."
But Joey, isn't that so Los Angeles? Like, there's
Absolutely.
You can't throw a stone and not hit
somebody.
an icon. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
I was in the moving industry out there, so we moved a lot of people. I mean, ridiculous people. So you
gotta say that a little differently. You gotta not moving. You gotta kind of go moving. You gotta kind of get the end off there.
Yeah.
I'm in the moving business.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so we'll go to our next segment because nobody wants to hear me talk. We'll go to our next segment, and this is Lenny's segment.
Oh,
yeah. This is the gear portion of the show where we talk about a piece of gear that you recently purchased or thinking about, or something that just downright pisses you off. I'm going to start. Joey, I'm going to go back to you. And
Okay.
Do you have anything this week that we usually do?
I usually do. I almost
On a
always
piece
do.
of gear that you're...
I'm actually just going to bring up my Kotzen Telly. I go back to that.
That's probably
I'm a huge Les Paul guy, but I got into this Telecaster thing, and now I realize I have something like I hope my wife's not watching. I have something like 8 or 10 Telecasters now. I don't know.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Kotzen Telly I got because anything that's Kotzen I grab and then he blocks me on a restraining order and shit. Whatever. We don't have to talk about that. So, but I'm trying at that. This has got the thickest fucking neck I've ever seen in a guitar. It's like a 58, which is supposed to be really thick, right? The big fat neck, but it plays so well and it's so comfortable. And I used to play the very thin necks. You know, I had the Gems and I had the RG 550s back in the day with those really thin wizard necks. But the fat neck on that Kotzentelly is just amazing to play. It's so comfortable. Your hands don't cramp up. You know, of course, I don't play with tapping and shit anymore. And I don't have to do that. But that's what I'm gonna call out as my great piece of gear that I was digging this week. Was that one? All right. So there you go, Len.
All right, Tommy, what do you got?
Well, I've been wanting one.
Here. I'll spot
So I've got the Germanian OCD.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right.
And I was up late listening to, reading email, and he went, and this is a blem. I can't figure out what blemmed on it, but it was $100 less brand new from Mike Fuller than it would normally be. And it's wonderfully smooth.
Is it good? Yeah.
I have, 4 different OCDs, and they all sound different. I have a 4 and a 7 and a V2-1 that he just did. OCDs. He did a modification during the pandemic on the version 2, and I bought that from him for, I can't even tell you, it was so cheap. Yeah. So, so now, he sends me emails, and so I got this one for $110 brand new, which is, crazy. Normally custom shop $190, but there's some sort of something with the paint somewhere that somebody didn't like, but I'm pretty happy. It's a little smoother than the other ones. It gets a little bit different sound. On the OCDs, there's that little bit of a high-end rasp, when you're playing, which is great. This is just a little smoother, so it's definitely a little bit different sound, but it's very cool. So I don't think it's going to go on like the playing out board, but it'll probably go on like the smaller. I'm going to go jam with guys to show them what a cool fucking pedal I have. I have that board too. I have the one. Yeah. I have the board where it's like, you have that? I'm like, yeah. No, but it's no clones.
No clon, right?
Yeah,
right.
You got to lock that on your board so no one steals it when you're out there.
Just screw it in there. Yeah.
You gotta disguise it. Anyway, that's my thing, and it's a really cool color. Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Excellent.
All right, Gerry, do you have anything or
like gear that I like?
Or just something like either
something you're digging
thinking
right
about,
now.
Pisses you off.
Well, what I have is I have a Telecaster.
No, I wanted to ask you that. Weren't you endorsing like a Telecaster?
Yeah. So there's a guy. There's a guy in Newfoundland. I keep going back to Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mike O'Reilly, and Telecasters. He assembles these guitars, but he's just a master at it. So the picture that you used of the promo shot, it's a Tele like 1960 type custom with the double binding with a humbucker in the neck.
Right.
Nice.
And when I brought the Dwarfs to Newfoundland for the first time about 2 years ago, the band had never been there. And it was my hometown. It was a great time. We had the best time. And we flew down. So I just brought one guitar. And I brought my Frampton Les Paul. And so I reached out to Mike O'Reilly. And I said, look, do you have something I can use just as a backup? And so he sent me that guitar just as a favor. And it was played so beautifully. I had to.
Wow.
I thought it's one of those guitars where like I play better because of how beautiful this guitar is, and so it was worth the hit, to get it. And he gave me a great deal, and so so it's very very small boutique operation that he has going, and he makes these Strats and Tellies, and so I love that guitar. And there's something about Telecasters, like I love Les Pauls when I'm playing in a rock band, especially, but if you're sitting on your couch, a Telly's a way more comfortable guitar to play, in my opinion, just because of the shape of the body. It's a bit higher.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
I like to practice with a Telly. Yeah, and I can't knock it out of tune. So so it'd be my O'Reilly Telly would be my favorite bit of stuff.
You can use a Telly as a weapon. as Keith Richards has. You've seen him. You've seen that video of him
Oh yes, of
beating the
course.
shit out of some guy on stage, and then
Yeah.
he just turns around and starts playing, and it's still in tune. You know, that's those things.
There's an endorsement.
Yeah,
I like the Brad Paisley, description, which is a cutting board attached to a baseball bat.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's so many good ones.
That's so true.
And I have a theory, yeah, like all my Les Pauls have to go on a good stand, and they have to be, but a Telly never goes on a stand. Although I'm breaking a rule back here. It
No,
never
you
goes
can
on a
shovel
stand.
your-
It leans against
shovel
the-
your driveway with a Telly.
Yeah, exactly. You lean it up against the amp, and that's the way it's supposed to be, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and the amp breaks.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what would happen exactly. know?
Hey, why'd the amp fall over?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Still
All
in
right.
tune.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll go on to our final segment, which is the fun segment, which is the fuck you segment.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, the fuck you segment is actually a compliment. It gives us the chance to say fuck you to somebody that's really talented. But we don't do it to the guests, so we definitely should have done it to you, Gerry.
Ah,
Yeah.
You are
Yeah,
really a good player.
wouldn't be the first
yeah.
time, Joe.
So
Won't be the
but
last.
We will get you maybe tomorrow night. By the way, tomorrow night we have Joel from Whitesnake on.
Oh, amazing!
And
Joel's a great
yeah.
player and a sweet guy.
Special edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just asked. He said, "Listen, I'm free tomorrow night. You want to do it tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah." We all jumped at it, of course.
How great!
Why not?
Yeah.
So we're doing back-to-back shows, so it should be fun. No, I'm not gonna say fuck you to him either, so he doesn't know me yet.
Right. So
So-
you gotta hold that back.
Right. But I am going to give fuck you out because, and I'm going to give out the fuck you first because I'm afraid Tommy might get this guy. Because we had talked about him this week, and I don't know if you know him, which is Rhett Shull. Rhett Shull is a huge YouTube guy. He's with Rick Beato. He does a lot of stuff with Rick Beato.
I don't know.
He's,
I don't think I do.
Yeah, Rick Beato was a producer for like a million people. Just these blown up on YouTube. If you get a chance to check out Rhett, he's got he plays with Noah. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
Make a face like him.
Yeah, I can't. It's terrible. It's a great band, and Noah's got a great voice. But Rhett started doing this a live. He set up a whole live studio in his house for the pandemic, and he started it. Last week was the first one, Tommy, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
Where he
does
set
a
up
full
with his
live
band.
concert, and he's doing all these cover tunes, and it sounds so fucking good. Everything.
Okay.
Is,
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's really fantastic, and he did a cover of Love and Hate that is like I didn't know that song before. Surprisingly, I listened to a lot of different music, and wow, the whole thing just blew me away. His guitar playing is really on point. He's not a technically fast guy or anything. He is just really, he knows what to play. He doesn't overplay. So
Beautiful.
really good.
They kind of brought it around a couple of things. They bookended what's going on. Marvin Gaye, instrumental into what's the other song on the record? Mercy, Mercy Me, and but it was some of it was really lo-fi too, but sounded so perfect, and some of it was a little bit more up. They were all wearing face coverings during this, and they kind of integrated the lo-fi sound of that with the miking
cool. techniques.
techniques.
Okay.
And it was the lighting was good. The sound, I mean, the sound was perfect. I mean, they showed some of the rehearsals, and everything is mic'd perfectly. There's screens up in front of the drums with the radar microphone in there, and it just perfectly done. And the songs were great choices, and they seemed to have a really good time doing it, and it was pretty intense.
And Rhett
watching
saying
it.
they had two practices, two rehearsals.
Yeah, just two
Like
practices,
two rehearsals, and then they just went
brought
off
it.
and did this, and it was like, holy shit! So
How great.
Fuck Rhett Shull for. Wow, man. I mean, he's really an inspiration. He's a young guy too. I think he just turned 30.
Just 30.
Just
And-
turned 30, and man, he's got some
Just like Len.
just great jobs. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Same age as Lenny. So
Yeah.
All right, so that's my fuck you is to Red Shell. So let's bring it over. I'm going to go down to Lenny this time. Lenny, who do you got?
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Well, keeping the theme of the 70s,
Yeah.
all this week, you know, I tried to bring somebody obscure to the table.
Right.
And, you know, this guy's been, I keep forgetting about him, but in reconnecting with his music, I discovered that, you know, he was one of the guys from the late 70s into the 80s that was kind of just a pioneer in himself. And that's Rick Emmett of Triumph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
a
a
lot of
voice,
people,
too.
he gets like kind of like forgotten, but it was like at the time Triumph, you know, power trio out of Canada, just like Rush, or you know the Max Webster band or anything like that. And it was like Rush meets Led Zeppelin in his musical arrangements on the guitar, where he would go with like acoustic and then the power chords, and then go into like soaring lines and leads. I just thought that, you know, the music still stands the test of time, and that he, you know, was just a groundbreaker in that style, where it was blues based in the realm of a Zeppelin Rush kind of thing, but yet made it original. And it was a genre that they kind of co-created after those two bands. And, you know, I don't know if they dropped off the face of the earth or if he's going on into a solo project, but at the time, Triumph was one of the mighty bands of my childhood growing up. And, you know, he was just a great guitarist.
Nice.
Yeah.
My pick, my F you was to Rick Emmett, wherever you are.
Awesome.
I agree. I actually saw a video, you know, because I've been trolling the Daryl House stuff, and he did a show with another guitar player, just did a solo show, and just
Dave Dunlop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just nailed all the songs. His voice is exactly the same as it was, just as strong. His playing has always been stellar, so absolutely fuck him. But I've seen some great solo shows from him. So
Yeah, because I didn't know if you know, if Triumph broke up or if he went into a jazz direction. I just lost touch with what he was doing. But I'll never forget the Triumph albums. I mean, you know, it was growing up. It kind of shaped me musically, and they were one of the bands that were responsible for that.
We're dropping names, right?
yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I've played with Rick.
Did
So
you?
I got to play the Magic Power. It's like it's one of those things where like
really
you
just
on
all
stage.
right, yeah. So where did this
Yeah.
happen? All right. Where did
Wow.
this
It
happen?
was another thing with the Carpet Frogs where he came up. It was some benefit thing, and we did a handful of Triumph songs with Rick. And
Wow.
Do you play
and
with him?
yeah, he was wicked.
Wow.
You know, fuck you.
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you for bringing that.
Yeah. You know,
Fuck Rick
I've been
and
waiting
fuck
to say
you.
that for 5 minutes now, Len.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's
Yeah,
so
he's a great player, and you know it's funny. When he's off stage, he's kind of, I don't know. He seems like a bit of an academic or something. Like he's got glasses, but when he gets on stage, you're like, that's the guy that sold out arenas. Like he's,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, and it's like, oh yeah, of course. You know,
Wow.
he kind of seems like this. He could work at Hogwarts.
Right,
Yeah.
he's an accountant.
Right?
He's an accountant.
But
Wow.
he is. But when he gets on stage, he's like, that's
He
the
just
guy from
turns
the
on
US
the switch.
Festival.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a thrill
watch
to
the
play
US
with him.
Festival. Watch the US Festival. That's the guy.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy.
And then after that, I'm like, what happened to him? You know, what happened to the band? I mean,
The band finished. They ended up doing a record with Phil X on guitar, and then
Phil X, he's
he's in Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Yeah.
right. He's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
great guitar player from Toronto also. And but then Rick had a really great solo career, and he still goes out and plays with Dave Dunlop, who you saw in that video. Dave's a dear old friend of mine, and they go out and play as a duo, and they're great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's like a more of an acoustic thing, or
Yeah, I think it's kind of.
Yeah, I think the whole show was acoustic, but you know, but he's still just as powerful playing like that, because I mean, a lot of his stuff
was acoustic. He had a lot of
was
acoustic intros and outros
you know,
to a lot of his music.
Yeah.
The songs are great, right? And
Yeah,
they're
songs are
playing
great.
like they're playing those like kind of go dance style, like Chet Atkins, you know, those electric acoustic guitars. And Rick is wicked, and he's still at the height of his powers.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good to hear. I had no idea until
Amazing.
you mentioned it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
He still
All
gets
right.
an FU from me, Val, but
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to
Yeah.
Tommy for your FU. What do you got, Tommy?
Well, you know what? I started the week kind of, still on the stoner rock thing, listening to everybody, and but I moved on to Paul Gilbert, and then I went down the Racer X freaking rabbit hole, because I had never really listened to Racer X, because I don't know, it was kind of
Part of a line.
yeah, they weren't having as much fun as, say, Van Halen and going to be Poison and doing all that. These guys were being very precise, but I went back and listened to it, and it's really, really great fun. You can tell Paul Gilbert's personality in a lot of the stuff, as you always
Sure.
can. And so, fuck Paul Gilbert.
Nice.
Fuck his good attitude and his ability to play and write fun songs.
And be funny.
And his teaching videos. Screw him. Yeah, I'm sick of people who are nice.
He's
Yeah.
in the spaceman suit. I love that song.
When he did that, there's the one video where of one of those songs where the three of them it's probably
Yeah.
a 12-minute song, and he's smiling and he's playing this stuff and he's just tearing it up and having the best time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did that. He did Yellow Mountain Custard with what was it? Portnoy was on drums. Like watching them do
at the cutting room.
My guitar gently weeps. Like, oh fuck! And he still kept that solo, a lot of it the way it was meant to be.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's just tasty too. So beyond being fast and everything else, he's got to be tasty too, and funny.
And Monster Hands.
Yeah.
Another guy with the hand that's
Well, he's a giant guy, right? He's like
he is.
Yeah.
he's like a praying mantis. Have you met him? He's like
It's like Jeff Goldblum, a little terrifying at 6'5" and coming at you with that attitude.
Yeah.
Is
right.
Jeff Goldblum that tall? I never knew that.
Oh yeah,
I
he's
think he
6'5".
is. Yeah.
Really?
6'5".
Wow.
And very strange. I met him once. He's just and it's scary when someone's that big and that odd.
Right. Well, Paul Gilbert.
Yeah, like Paul Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard what's his name, Josh JHS Pedals is that big too. He's another
Is
guy
he?
who's 6'3", 6'4". Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he always seems like somebody's math teacher or something. And then he's got an obscure taste in music. It's pretty good. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I always go back whenever I watch one of his things. I always go back and try and listen to what he says.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So now the pressure's on Jerry.
Yeah.
All right,
But,
Jerry.
You're
prepping
fuck you.
for this, right?
Yeah.
And I when I think of the player who's, I guess, a contemporary player who I am most impressed with, I go to Derek Trucks.
Oh,
And like, to me, he's like a Jeff Beck level genius. The way he plays. Do you know who Robert Randolph and the Family Band are? He's a guy who plays pedal steel. Like, they do those long lines on one string, and it's like a woman singing. Like Derek Trucks, it's like, fucking, how is this even possible, right? But I have to go with Bumblefoot, because Bumblefoot is a part of the extended Dwarf family. Like Russ and Ron are good buddies, and Russ did an acoustic record like 5 or 6 or more years ago, and Ron came and played on it, and he's kind of been around us since then. And he's one. I mean, he's just as comfortable playing with Tallis as he is with playing with Steve Howe. I mean, it's uncanny, right? What he's
How he kind of just fits right in.
And he's fearless. Like, he's like, he's just going to show up and play, and it's like nothing to him, right? And every time I see him play, you see things online and stuff, but anytime I see him live, I always come away having learned something. Like, I think he is one of the most remarkable musicians I've ever seen, even beyond simply being a guitar player. His sense of humor and the way he sings, and like these weird songs he writes. Have you heard the song Drunk? So get on YouTube and search for Bumblefoot's song Drunk. And we're getting into Frank Zappa territory. It is hysterical and, dark kind of comedy stuff. And he's, a virtuoso. So I can barely bring myself because he's a pal to say "fuck you," Bumblefoot.
Right.
But he's a guy I'd like to single out as being exceptional.
Right. Yeah, that's a perfect way to do it, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's somebody you respect, and yeah, you
Yeah.
can say fuck you. Yeah, and a monster
Yeah.
player.
He's
Monster
incredible.
player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help but I had found one of your solos, and you got your Frampton guitar up there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah. And now I got Russ taking a video of the crowd now too. So
Here he is. He's going to shut the PA off. Watch out.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how that ever supported what the band needed, but it was fun.
Figure this out.
We had a really great time with you.
I'm so
on
grateful,
the
Joey.
show today.
It
know,
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for
It's
reaching
great
out,
to
guys.
see you.
It's great to see you too, and we had such a great time when we were at your club. And I think we
There'll
connected.
be more of those.
I can't wait to see you in person again, man.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
all be there. We're actually looking forward to doing this show all together at some point. So,
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, if it's at the club that Lenny has and you're playing, it would just be a killer time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank
and
you
listen,
so much.
if you're doing this again and you run out of real guitar players, call me. I'd be happy to contribute.
What are
we
you
will
doing
definitely
next
have you
week,
back. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
You know
We'll
what?
bump the Quiet Riot guys off. Fuck them.
You know what we should. You know what we should do moving forward, though, Joey.
Yeah.
We should send a Zoom invite to everybody who's been on the show
Oh yeah.
every
at the
week,
end,
and whoever wants to show up can just show up.
Just show up. Just show up.
I would
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
I would love to shoot the shit with Steve if it was possible on here.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sent
Yeah.
the link.
Yes.
He just.
We
I
would
don't
Steve,
know
I
where
miss you
he
and love you.
was.
I know where you
but,
We would
are.
love that.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to have. The both of you on a show together would be fantastic.
I would also love to have maybe you and Russ through Zoom maybe do like an acoustic
Yeah.
Sure.
kind
We
of
would love
thing or
that.
whatever.
We would
Totally
absolutely-
open.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Fantastic.
All right.
This
Thank
has
you,
been-
guys.
This has been great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Right.
fellas.
Gerry,
So,
thank you. This was an honor, and thank you for being such a good friend to my family, to my co-host, and for doing this.
All
And we miss you, brother. And like you said earlier, we're gonna get through this, and it's gonna be better in the long run, whatever that is.
We'll
And
be
then We're all
fine.
gonna go back to rock.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll look back on it and go, "Wow, wasn't that weird?"
Yeah.
All right, people, subscribe, hit the bell, subscribe,
The bell
follow
on
our links
YouTube.
Buy the
here,
merchandise,
follow Gerry,
Yeah.
just
T-shirts.
do the thing. We'll
T-shirts and
put
stuff.
everything together, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go out with. I took something off of your YouTube when you were playing with Burton. So
Really?
yeah,
Is there such a thing? I didn't know. Okay.
or somebody was claiming it's you. So
Okay.
I'll put it.
If it was good, it's me. I'm so kidding.